Hello everyone! Today we are going to discuss how you can use a text, any type of text, to improve your English skills. And to do that I've chosen a very short and simple text, and I will show you what I would. Okay, so I can show you. So the first thing that you need to do is to pick a few colors. Now, obviously, this is an exercise that you can do on your computer, on your phone, on your iPad, but even if you have a piece of paper, obviously. So I wanted to pick a few colors. The first color will be for new vocabulary and expressions, or idioms and things like that. The second color you're going to use for rarely used words, and by this I mean words or expressions or idioms or sentences that you already knew but that you were not using enough. And I will show you some examples of that. Then I wanted to pick a pencil that you will use to underline new grammar points or grammar points that you have not understood very well. Then a color for grammar that you know but that you don't use very often, but that you know you should be using. And the last one is a color for collocations. So let's pick this text about coronavirus. Sorry. And let's go with the first sentence. Now, this is an exercise that obviously you can also use to practice a little bit of pronunciation, so you can read aloud, but it's not so important in this case. So let's read. With school and businesses closed and many cities and towns under mandatory shelter-in-place orders, the novel coronavirus or COVID-19 has drastically changed lives globally within a matter of weeks. Now, the first color we're going to use for words that we don't know. Now, let's say you don't know what mandatory means. I will tell you, mandatory means obligatory, but let's say that you don't know. So what you're going to do is you're going to open a new tab on Google, on Safari, or whatever you use, and you will tap mandatory. But I don't want you to look for the translation, but for a monolingual dictionary, such as the Cambridge Dictionary or the Longman Dictionary, and you will look for the meaning. Another thing that you can do, which wouldn't really work in this case, because this is more an abstract noun, is to look for images. So you're going to underline this with the color that you've picked. Let's say it's blue because you didn't know it. Then we're going with shelter in place. Let's say this is something that you already knew. In this case, this is not a simple word, this is more an expression. And you will underline it with another color, which is the one that you knew, but that you're not using enough, which is quite probable because maybe it's not a very common expression, but it's something that could help you make your English better. Okay. Let's go on to this part. Has drastically changed lives globally. Now, has drastically changed is a present perfect. You probably already know what a present perfect is and when to use it, but maybe you've noticed that drastically is between has, which is the auxiliary verb, and changed, which is the main verb. And you think, oh wow, I wouldn't say that. I would say maybe has changed drastically. So you're going to use a new color, another color, for grammar that you already knew but that you don't use enough. Okay, so this is good. Let's move on to the next sentence. To bring joy, optimism, and strength during this difficult period, people and organizations worldwide are performing random acts of kindness for total strangers. Now, I was looking for collocations, and even like bring joy could be considered as one, because basically a collocation means that with joy, now joy is a noun, right? and bring is a verb. Now, a question that could come up in your head is like, what kind of verb do I use with the noun joy? And what you do to find that out is to go to a monolingual dictionary. What I would recommend you to do is using the Longman dictionary and type joy. And then you will see a bunch of collocations that you can use, collocations with another noun, with an adverb maybe, or maybe with a verb. In this case is to bring joy. And this so with this collocation, you're going to pick another color, maybe red, that you have chosen for collocations, and this is what you're going to use to underline this one. I hope this was useful. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend you to do this exercise with a very long text because you're going to get bored. And another thing that you could do is when you have finished this exercise, you can use your flashcards. I would recommend you to use either Memrise or Quizlet. My favorite is Quizlet.com. It's free and it's great to use. And I would create a set of cards, maybe for new words and one for words that you already knew but that you were not using enough. So this is what I would recommend you to do now at the end of this exercise. Obviously, you can choose if you want to pick some more simple text or more complicated, like for example, if you are a more advanced student from the New York Times or Financial Times or something like that. So I hope this was useful. Have a great day. Bye.